They tried to erase him quietly, but silence almost became their biggest mistake. While the city slept, danger was already breathing inches away from power. No gunshots, no screams, no warning, just a clock counting down in the dark. By the time the public heard anything, the moment of death had already been scheduled. This was not gossip, not rumors, not politics as usual. It was a finished plan, waiting for permission from time. On a calm Saturday night, January 3rd, 2026, the streets looked normal, but the state was no longer relaxed. Inside intelligence rooms, fragments suddenly aligned like a puzzle snapping into place. This was no longer suspicion, it was confirmation. The target was clear: Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The threat was real, mature, and already moving. This was not the early stage where ideas float and options are debated. Roles were assigned, routes were chosen, timing was fixed. The plan had crossed the line where hesitation becomes fatal. Security forces were no longer investigating, they were racing a countdown. Move too fast and alert the killers. Move too slow and lose the country's leader in minutes. Every second mattered, and panic was not an option. The operation they uncovered was cold, disciplined, and surgical. Nothing reckless, nothing emotional. Every move designed to end quickly and leave no room for recovery. Surveillance intensified without noise. Communications were watched without disruption. The plot was allowed to breathe just long enough to expose its full shape. What the public never saw was the pressure of waiting in silence. Arrest too early and the plan mutates. Arrest too late and history changes forever. The margin for error was measured in minutes, not hours. The assassination window was narrow and deliberate. Just after 11 p.m., when the city relaxes and reaction slows. Not too late, not too early. Perfect for disappearance. Two methods were prepared. One fast and personal, a close-range kill meant to end everything instantly. The other, violent and symbolic, explosives meant to shatter more than a life. The choice depended only on conditions on the ground. Weapons were already in place. Access routes were secured. There was no need for more meetings or calls. All that remained. 3 countries quietly crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger fused their militaries into a single force and gave it a single name: the Alliance of Sahel States. What looked like another regional meeting in Bamako was never routine. Doors were closed, security was tight, and the real decisions were made before the cameras ever rolled. These were not governments seeking approval. They were governments preparing for pressure. In late December, the leaders of the 3 Sahel states met away from public view. They had already broken with old alliances. They had already faced sanctions, threats, and isolation. But this meeting marked a turning point. Because before any protocol was followed, before any title was announced, one man spoke like time was running out. Ibrahim Traoré did not wait for applause. He did not celebrate unity. He issued a warning, a cold one. He said West Africa was entering a dangerous phase, not accidental, not temporary, planned, engineered. He gave it a name that froze the room: Black Winter. He said this was not just about terrorism or insecurity. He said it was about control. He said violence had become a method, a tool used to exhaust governments that refuse alignment, a way to drain resources, fracture societies, and turn citizens against their own states. Chaos, he warned, is not random. Chaos is managed. What made the moment unsettling was the order of events. Traoré spoke before he was named chairman, before power was formally handed to him, as if the message mattered more than the position. Only after his warning did the summit move forward. Only then was it announced that leadership of the alliance had passed to him. The sequence revealed everything. This was not a leader shaping a narrative after taking office. The narrative came first. The responsibility followed. The Alliance of Sahel States is not a symbolic club. It was born from rejection. rejection of foreign military tutelage, rejection of unequal security arrangements, rejection of a system that promised stability and delivered dependency. So when Traoré spoke of Black Winter, he was not theorizing. He was preparing for impact. He said the Sahel is not entering a season of negotiation. It is entering a season of pressure, pressure from outside the continent, pressure from within it. First, he pointed outward. He accused imperial powers of sustaining instability across the Sahel, not by accident, by design. Armed groups, he said, are funded, redirected, and kept alive to weaken states that take back control of their resources. Violence drains budgets. Violence overwhelms armies. Violence creates humanitarian crises that justify intervention. And slowly, confidence collapses. Then Traoré turned inward. This is where the room reportedly went silent. He accused African leaders themselves of complicity, not openly, quietly, by refusing cooperation, by spreading doubt, by undermining joint forces while speaking the language of sovereignty. He described leaders who benefit from instability next door because it hides fragility at home. This accusation changed everything. It reframed the crisis. The problem, he suggested, is not only foreign interference. It is internal sabotage. The Sahel, he said in effect, is surrounded by pressure and betrayal at the same time. By saying this out loud, Traoré crossed a dangerous line. The alliance was no longer neutral in Africa's internal divisions. It was choosing sides. It was declaring that some governments are part of the problem, not the solution. The implication was clear. The AES does not expect solidarity. It expects resistance, isolation, retaliation, diplomatic, economic, and informational. This is why his tone was not conciliatory. He was not seeking approval. He was preparing his people.